Culture of Ivory Coast. The diverse culture of Ivory Coast, a coastal West African country bordered by Ghana, Liberia, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, is exemplified by a multitude of ethnic groups, events, festivals, music, and art. More than 60 indigenous ethnic groups are often cited, although this number may be reduced to 7 clusters of ethnic groups by classifying small units together on the basis of their cultural and historical characteristics, which differ somewhat from one to the next. These may be further reduced to 4 major cultural regions: the East Atlantic, primarily Akan; West Atlantic, primarily Kru, Voltaic, and Man, differentiated in terms of environment, economic activity, language, and overall cultural characteristics. In the southern half of the country, the East Atlantic and West Atlantic cultures, separated by the Bandama River, each make up almost 1/3 of the indigenous population. Roughly 1/3 of the indigenous population lives in the north, including Voltaic peoples in the northeast and Mand in the northwest. Events and festivals. The Fêtes des Masques, Festival of Masks, held in December in the region of Man, is one of Ivory Coast's biggest and best-known festivals. Competitions between villages are held to find the best dancers and to pay homage to the forest spirits embodied in the elaborate masks. Another important event is the week-long carnival in Bois each March. In April, there is the Fête de Prière. The primary Muslim holiday is Ramadan, a month when everyone fasts between sunrise and sunset, following the fourth pillar of Islam. Ramadan ends with a huge feast, Eid al-Fitr, where everyone prays together, visits friends, gives presents, and eats. The traditional diet in Ivory Coast is very similar to that of neighboring countries in its reliance on grains and tubers, but Ivorians have a particular kind of small, open-air restaurant called a maquis that is unique to them. Etique grated cassava is a popular Ivorian side dish. Maquis normally feature braised chicken and fish smothered in onions and tomatoes, served with etique, or kejanu, a chicken dish made with vegetables and a mild sauce. One of the tastiest street-vended foods is a loco, which is a ripe banana in palm oil, spiced with steamed onions and chili, and eaten alone or with grilled fish. Bangui is a local palm wine. Media. Television. Dr. Boris is an Ivorian sitcom broadcast since 2008. Music. The traditional music style of many of the ethnic groups of Ivory Coast is characterized by a series of rhythms and melodies that occur simultaneously, without one dominating the other. Music is used in many aspects of the culture. The dance celebrate rice, death, marriage, birth, and whether all with music. Instruments include the talking drum, djembe, kepelogo, sheker yuru, akam, and cleavers, and are typically made with local materials such as gourds, animal skins, and horns. In the past, music has been the main forte of one social group, the Griot village entertainers. Ivory Coast's Alpha Blondy, the world-famous reggae artist, is probably the country's best-known singer, though his music is not necessarily representative. Masks are a prevalent art form in Ivory Coast. The variety and intricacy of masks created by the people of Ivory Coast is rivaled by none. Masks have many purposes. They are used mostly for representative reasons. They can symbolize lesser deities, the souls of the deceased, and even caricatures of animals. They are considered sacred and very dangerous as such. Only certain powerful individuals and families are permitted to own them, and only specially trained individuals may wear the masks. It is held to be dangerous for others to wear ceremonial masks because it is believed that each mask has a soul or life force, and that when a person's face comes in contact with the inside of the mask, the person is transformed into the entity the mask represents. The Bayul, the Dan or Yakaba, and the Cenifo are all known for their wooden carvings. Contemporary art is well developed in Ivory Coast. Some of the major artists are Ananis Lecky Dago, photographer, 1970, winner of the first prize of Photo Africa Context in Spain in 2009, and Distinction Award from the Critical Photography French Kodak Prize in 2004. Christian Latier sculptor, 1925–1978, winner of the Grand Prize of World Festival of Black Arts in Dakar. 19 pieces of Latier sculptures are currently in the collection of the Musée National de Ivory Coast in Abidjan. Akan, curator, writer, art critic, professor of philosophy, 1953. In 2000, he served as a director of the National Institute of Arts and Culture and as a director of the Cabinet of Ministers of Culture and Francophonie. He is also head of l'Institut National Supérieur des Arts et de l'Action Culturelle of Abidjan. He was one of the curators of individual exhibitions of 6th Dakar in 2004, and he was the artistic director of the Dakar Biennale in 2006. James Robert Coco by sculptor, 1966. Ernest Duku painter, 1958. Duku is an artist who have engaged in dialogue with the rich systems of graphic inscription and writing of Africa, but his results are highly individual. His work asks a cosmogonical world system, the spiritual systems, by using his training in architecture, may explain the volume and dimensionality that situates his. Ouattara Watts painter, 1957. Watts is an internationally recognized neo-expressionist painter. Watts is a jazz enthusiast who merged music and art in paintings and collages by using recycled everyday materials. Paul Sika, fashion and advertising photographer/creative director/artist, 1985. Mathild Moriou painter, director of the École Nationale des Beaux-Arts in Abidjan. Sidiki Bakaba actor, scenario writer, director, 1949, awarded for his entire career in Second Pan-African Cultural Festival in Algiers in 2009, and Best Actor for West Africa by La Fondation des Artistes de Ivory Coast Fondasai in 2008. Frédéric Brulé-Boisber painter, 1923. 2013. Many of his paintings are in the collection of Jean Pegaz's. Ethnic groups. There are more than 60 ethnic groups in the Ivory Coast, the key ones being the Bayoul in the center, the Agri in the east, the Cenifo in the north, the Dioula in the northwest and west, the Bite in the center-west, and the Danyakaba in the west. Other groups, such as the Akan and their subgroups the Abran, Akani, and Awin, also make up a large part of the population. Each of these groups has their own history, economy, religion, and art, although each shares many things in common with the other groups of the Ivory Coast. Migrants from other West African countries account for up to 40% of the population, and this large population also adds to the culture and customs. Akan. The Akan is the major cultural group of the Ivory Coast, with a population of approximately 8 million. The Bono, Bayoul, the Akai, the Eni, the Asante, and the Awin are all Akan people. Among the Akan-speaking people of southern Ghana and adjacent Ivory Coast, ritual pottery and figurative terracottas are used in connection with funeral practices that date at least to the 17th century. Much of what we know about ancient Akan customs comes to us in the form of oral histories, which have survived for several hundred years. Many of the objects that have been recovered through archaeological methods are still produced in modified form among Akan people today. The rise of the early Akan centralized state can be traced to the 11th century, which is the Bono state, and is likely related to the opening of trade routes established to move gold throughout the region. It was not until the end of the 17th century, however, that the Grand Asante Kingdom emerged in the southern forest region of Ghana, when several small states united under the King of Kumasi in a move to achieve political freedom from the Denkyira. Ball Bayoul. The Ball people inhabit the central Ivory Coast. Their population is approximately 4 million, and the language is Ball Akan cluster of Twi. Art. The Bayoul create art in several different media, including gold and brass casting similar to their Asante ancestors, wooden sculptures, and mask and figure carving such as wooden masks. The mask is a primary art form in the Ivory Coast. Religion. Ancestor worship and a hierarchy of nature gods make up the religious beliefs of the Ball. Ulurwa is the creator god, and though other nature spirits and spouses are represented in sculpture, Ulurwa is never physically manifested in art. History. The Ball are a part of the Akan people who inhabit Ivory Coast and Ghana. The Ball migrated westward from Ghana when the Ascent rose to power. This tale of their breakaway is preserved in their oral traditions. During the Ascent rise to power, the Ball queen, Arapaku, was competing directly with the Ascent king. When she lost, she led the Ball away from Ghana and to the central Ivory Coast. Arapaku's descendant occupies the throne and palace she built and is honored by the Ball as their nominal king. Economy. Markets, run primarily by women, are the center of the Ball local economy. Yams and some maize are the primary crops. They also export cocoa and koala nuts, using exploited migrant laborers mostly from Burkina Faso on local plantations. Crops such as maize, peppers, sweet potatoes, peanuts, tomatoes, manioc, and squash were introduced from the Americas during the Atlantic slave trade. They raise farm animals like sheep, goats, dogs, and chickens. Their craft items and local produce are sold along with imported goods all over the world. Political systems. The Ball government is highly centralized. There is a king or chief on top who inherits his position, along with various sub-chiefs in charge of local populations. All rely on political advisors who aid in the making of decisions. The primary mask association, the Goli, provides social order among the Ball. Akai. The Akai are an Akan people living in the southern Ivory Coast, with a population of about 55,000. They speak Akai, Akan cluster of Twi. Art. Wood carving, pottery, and weaving are all art forms of the Akai. The stools carved are seen as seats of power, and Akuaba wooden dolls are associated with fertility. The traditions of pottery and weaving are extensive and long-lasting throughout the Akan people. Woven on behalf of royalty, Kent cloth has come to symbolize African power all over the world. Economy. Along the coast of the Ivory Coast, fishing is very important, as the depleted forests hold little promise for hunting. The markets are run mostly by women who as a result hold a large amount of economic power, while the men fish, hunt, and clear land. Both participate in agricultural tasks. Political systems. Royal membership among Akan is determined through connection to the land. Anyone who traces descent from a founding member of a village or town may be considered royal. Each family is responsible for maintaining political and social order within its confines. Obran. The Obran are an Akan people living in the northeastern Ivory Coast and considered as the earliest or one of the earliest Akan settlers in Ivory Coast, with an estimated population of 400,000. They speak the Bono Twi of Akan. The Obran have a rich cultural heritage among the Akan. Religion. The Akan believe in an ultimate God who has various different names depending on the different regions of worship. At one point, according to Akan mythology, this god walked upon the earth with man, but moved high up into the sky after being continuously beaten with a pestle of an old woman pounding fufu. No priests serve him directly, and the general belief is that he may be contacted directly. Priests do, however, serve other spirits, acting as a conduit of the gods, a liaison between them and mankind. There are numerous other gods abossum, usually connected to the natural world, like ocean and river spirits, as well as a variety of local spirits who receive their power from this supreme god. The earth itself is considered a deity, and a female one by the Obran called a Sasya, directly connected to fertility and fruitfulness. Prayer is held daily and includes offerings to ancestors and spirits. The Eni people live in the southeastern Ivory Coast, with a population of approximately 1,000. They speak Akan cluster of Twi. Art. Funerary images and monuments hold special importance among the Any people. Artistic expression is focused on creating such art forms, for the more beautiful the monument is, the deeper the respect for the deceased. Through these types of grave monuments, dedicated to the ancestors, families can demonstrate their affluence and dedication at the same time. Official Akan history. Economy. Any agricultural economy revolves around banana and taro production. Yams are also an important staple crop in the region. Palm oil is also sold as a commodity at the international market. Political systems. The Any live and loose, spread out neighborhoods of family housing complexes, usually with a headman, directed by a council of elders who represents the town in regional politics. The Any, like other Akan people, have a highly stratified society, including a hierarchical political administration made up of officials with rank and power. Since the Any are matrilineal, women have relatively high social status in both the political and economic areas. Religion. Ancestors and ancestor worship are at the center of the Any's religious beliefs. One should always remember and honor one's ancestors and strive to live life so that, in turn, as an ancestor, one will be revered and remembered. In keeping with this system, when a person passes, there is an elaborate ceremony with ritual washing, dressing the dead in fine clothes and gold jewelry, and a mourning period allowing the family to show respect for departed and to allow a safe passage and welcome for the deceased into the spirit world. Aowen. The Aowen people live in the southern Ivory Coast and southern Ghana. They have a population of about 40,000 people and speak Aowen Akan cluster of Twi. Their culture is very similar to the other Akan cultures in the area. Dan. The Dan are a people who inhabit Liberia and the Ivory Coast. They have a population of about 35,000 and speak Dan Mand. Art and music are enormous parts of Dan culture. The primary art form of the Dan is their masks, which emulate virtually every aspect of Dan society. Dan sculptors use masks to represent war, peace, social regulation, and entertainment. Mancala game boards and stylized wooden spoons are also made with wood carving. Religion. The Dan worldview holds that everything can be divided into two separate and clear categories. The primary dichotomy is between village and bush, in other words, things that have been controlled by man and things that have not. Crossing over the dividing line is dangerous business, and whenever it is done, whether to clear new fields or simply crossing the forest, the bush spirits must be appeased. In order to take part in village life, the Dan believe that all creatures have a spirit soul due, which is imparted onto humans and animals from the Creator God, XRA through birth. One's due is immortal and is passed on after death to a new being. However, some do remain bodiless. They inhabit the forests as bush spirits and must establish a relationship with a person if they wish to be manifested and honored. Often the spirit will request the chosen person to dance the spirit, utilizing a mask to illustrate the spirit's embodiment. History. Oral traditions describe the Dan society of the 19th century as lacking any central governing power. Social cohesion was fostered by a shared language and a preference for intermarriage. Generally, each village had a headman who had earned his position of advantage in the community through hard work in the fields and through luck as a hunter. They usually surrounded themselves with young warriors for protection from invading neighbors and exchanged gifts with other chiefs in order to heighten their own prestige. Out of this custom was born the basic tradition of tin among the Dan, which was based on displaying one's success in order to build a good reputation and name. Economy. The tradition of tin is still an essential part of the Dan economy today. Young people strive to make a name for themselves by lavishly spending at community feasts to demonstrate their wealth. Although farming and hunting have been largely replaced by laboring in the diamond camps or working at the rubber plantations, the establishment of a hierarchical social order is still based on the individual's ability to succeed. Political systems. It has been only recently, through the creation of the Leopard Society Go, that a unifying political organization has emerged among the Dan. The secret political society centers around the powerful spirit Go, who is responsible for peacemaking. Although the power of Go seems to be increasing throughout Dan society, individual villages still maintain a high degree of political independence, and the economic power of the individual is still highly valued. Cenifo. The Cenifo people inhabit northern Ivory Coast and Mali. They are also experts in making Korhogo cloth. Art. Much of the Cenifo's sculpted work is made in the poro or school. Brass sculptures, wood carvings, and masks are mostly made there and sold to local artisans. They are expert mask makers, but since farming is the highest profession possible, artists and musicians are low in the caste system. Musicians are bottom. History. The Cenifo are made up of a number of different groups who migrated south to Mali and the Ivory Coast in the 15th and 16th centuries. Religion. The Cenifo are a very animistic society. They believe that the ancestor spirits are responsible for all events that occur, and if they are not appeased through proper ritual, they may cause drought, infertility, and illness. Political system/economy. The Cenifo are known as excellent farmers and are mainly a farming society. They live by a strict caste system, where the farmer is top and the musicians are at the bottom, everyone else filling in between. One of the highest possible honors given in the Cenifo culture is the title of Sambali champion cultivator, who is respected throughout the region and in his old age is typically given a strong leadership role. Even for those who do not belong to the farmer caste, farming is huge in the Cenifo culture. The society is very community-centered. People often take turns working each other's lands, trading off and on. There is usually a group in each village made up of men from ages 15 to 35 to make farming and chores fun. Local games to see how fast a man can hoe a field are held. Another society for men is the poro or school for young men, usually located in the forest. For Cenifo women, the greatest ability is the ability to cook well. If a woman or girl cannot, it is a shame to the family. The women's society, Sandogo, is responsible mainly for divination.